If you watch Tales of the Empire trailer again, you will see something very interesting that I kind of picked up after watching it again and again, and I think that Barriss Offee at this point is being severely manipulated by the Sith and the Inquisitors, and she actually knows it. She is being led astray for someone's experimentation. What do I mean? Well, I talked about this a couple of videos ago, I think, that once Palpatine realized that Barriss Offee was still imprisoned, in fact, he himself, as Chancellor Palpatine, gave out that punishment when they caught her during the Jedi Order times. Once he realized that she was still alive and imprisoned, in order to test Darth Vader, as he has many times before and after, he wanted to give a test out to Darth Vader, see how he would react when he saw Barriss Offee as one of the new Inquisitors, a former Jedi that Anakin actually fought and saved Ahsoka through. I mean, who could forget the famous duel between Anakin and Barriss Offee right there in the courtyard of the Jedi Temple? It is pretty interesting, it is pretty intense, and now she is his apprentice. Can you actually imagine that? The irony here that as Anakin, he saved his apprentice by imprisoning Barriss Offee. Now Barriss Offee will be his apprentice, Darth Vader's apprentice, and they will go after the Jedi, aka Ahsoka. It is pretty twisted when you think about it, and this has Sidious written all over it. But in today's video, I want to actually tackle the discussion of, will Barriss Offee die in the finale of Tales of the Empire? Now, in Tales of the Jedi, it was a 1-2-1-2 format. Basically, it was one episode for Dooku and the other episode for Ahsoka. So it went on that way until the last episode actually focused on one character. And I think the 1-2 format here will be episode 1, 3, and 5 will be about Morgan Elsbeth and Thrawn, and episode 2, 4, and 6, the final one, will be about Barriss Offee. They have to end it with Barriss Offee's storyline. Now, interestingly, in Tales of the Jedi, none of the main characters died, neither Dooku nor Ahsoka. And we know that Morgan Elsbeth is not gonna die here. She actually died years later in the Ahsoka series. But will Dave Filoni actually break tradition, and in Tales of the Empire, Barriss Offee will be the first main character to be killed off? In my honest opinion, at this point, I'm not really sure that Barriss Offee will die. If you ask me right now, and we're a couple of weeks away from Tales of the Empire, but I don't think that Dave Filoni has saved Barriss Offee up until now, years and years later, a decade later, just only to kill her off after 3 episodes. You see, it makes complete sense that Barriss Offee would somehow survive this ordeal, get away from everybody, and actually show up to a show that Dave Filoni is heading to, and that will be in Ahsoka Season 2. We see Ahsoka trapped. We know that during Season 2, she will eventually get back into the main galaxy. And who knows, perhaps it is intentional as to why in the trailer and in the show Tales of the Empire, you see Thrawn with Morgan Elsbeth and Barriss Offee. Maybe these fates will be intertwined somehow. Thrawn now leaving Peridea, coming to the main galaxy, wreaking havoc on the New Republic, and perhaps this is the time when their fates intertwine with Barriss Offee. Think about it, it would be so intense and cool to see Thrawn leading the charge with the Imperial Remnant, and Barriss Offee, a former Jedi, being by his side. And what's more, of course, this would give us a chance to actually see Barriss Offee in live action and Ahsoka in live action go head to head. Just think about the epicness of that actual duel years later. These two former Jedi meet up. Because if you think about it, if Barriss Offee survives Darth Vader and escapes the Empire during Tales of the Empire, she will essentially have the same version of Ahsoka's storyline, but a darker version. While Ahsoka abandoned the Jedi Order and abandoned Anakin Skywalker to forge her new path, her rogue path, so did Barriss Offee. She abandoned the Jedi Order and she abandoned Darth Vader to forge her own rogue path, perhaps even darker. Years later, decades later, these two characters meet up, former friends, now foes. When you actually think about it, the only way for Barriss Offee to die would be at the hands of Darth Vader. That's the only way I think of Barriss would die. Now, the only way for Vader to kill her is for Barriss Offee to make the mistake of revealing Vader's true identity, which he keeps very much safe and even hates the name uttered Anakin. Barriss Offee, I don't think, would be that insanely dumb to mock Vader in front of his face, especially since he would be her superior at this time and would of course, be killed, in my opinion. So if she's smart enough to execute her temple bombing plan during the Clone Wars and be smart enough to frame Ahsoka for it, then I think she's smart enough to have basic common sense to not taunt Darth Vader, to not reveal his true identity, and to have her survival instincts, to actually abandon the Empire altogether and to go into hiding similar to other Jedi. Because again, I go back to Dave Filoni. I think Dave is very tactful when it comes to these characters. These are the characters that he has grown up by himself. Yes, Barriss Offee did appear during the Attack of the Clones movie, but it was Dave Filoni who fleshed her out. This is essentially his character. Again, I just refuse to believe that this dude would bring Barriss Offee back for only 3 measly episodes and then kill her off forever. I think Barriss has a lot more future in her and a lot more content to come. You can see a similar thing with Asajj Ventress, essentially. We all thought that Asajj was done with the Clone Wars series, that was it. Then we see also a novel with her in Quinlan Vos, and we think she is dead there, but then she makes a re-emergence in The Bad Batch, and the producers, even the actress, promised that The Bad Batch is only scratching the surface. She has a lot more content to come. So it's definitely an exciting time for these re-emerging characters, of forgotten characters of Asajj Ventress and Barriss Offee, and I do think that they are darker characters. They are the anti-hero. They are those characters that we want more of, similar to, in essence, Boba Fett. Who wouldn't love more content about Boba Fett? Although the book of Boba Fett was, nothing to hit home by, but nonetheless, we do like these characters and we want more from them. And of course, there's the Luminara Unduli factor, her master. As I said in the beginning, she seems throughout the trailer a bit bewildered and a bit skeptical of the entire facade. She sees through the lies of the Grand Inquisitor, of Darth Vader, even the Empire, but she is too afraid to admit it at this point. So we're going to talk about a lot more in future videos about Luminara Unduli and even perhaps Reva. So stay tuned and tell me down below, do you think Barriss Offee will die during Tales of the Empire?